Talking to new people can be stressful and overwhelming sometimes, especially if you're an introvert like me. I exactly know how you feel when you're not able to express yourself, when you're not able to bring your emotions, your thoughts into words. And no matter what, the other person is not able to understand what you're trying to convey. I've been there and I know how hard it is. I exactly understand how you feel invisible and not seeing the conversation, like you're left out of the group. You don't really know how to converse with people. Like, what should I ask them? What topic should I talk to them? Like, we don't have any commonality, so how should I talk to this new person? How can I be more interesting? I exactly know this. I have been through this, and I still am figuring out ways to make conversations better and how to be part of the conversation, maybe in a group. So that's why I'm here to help you out and make you a good conversationalist. If you watched my previous video, I have explained how to become a bad communicator, sarcastically. If you have not watched it, do go watch it. It will be somewhere here, and come back after watching it so that you'll have a clear understanding of what I'm trying to say in this video. Maybe you have already understood from the video what are the things that you shouldn't do. So in this video, I'm going to break down all the good things, the good points that you should do to have a good conversation with people. Or, in other words, to become a good communicator. Maybe you're a good communicator, but often we overlook some things. So if you watch this video till the end, I promise you will get something useful from this video. I'm sorry, my voice is a bit close, like I just recovered from a cold. I know you want to hear my sweet voice, but I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with my throat. And I guess recording this video with this voice condition deserves a like and a subscribe. So please do like and subscribe. Thank you in advance. So first, let's talk about how to talk. You know, the problem is, if you talk too much, that's bad. If you talk a little, that's also bad. You know, people will ask you, why are you so quiet? You know, if you're an introvert, you have probably heard this a number of times. So the key is to have the right balance. You have to talk in a way that is polite, but not submissive. The problem is, you know, when you try to be authentic, sometimes it turns out to be arrogant. And when you try to be polite, sometimes it seems like you become submissive, right? So it's like a perfect balance between these two. You have to talk politely, but at the same time, you have to be authentic. Otherwise, people won't listen to you. They won't give value to your words. So one aspect that we discussed in the previous video was about flexing yourself, right? It's like, it's not that you shouldn't flex yourself. You can flex yourself, or rather you should flex yourself, but in a manner that doesn't seem like you're boasting about yourself. There's a very subtle knack to it. I don't know how to explain, or even I'm just figuring it out. I think one way you can do is, like, instead of boasting about, like, saying that I achieved this, I did that, I got this, I met this person, you know, I met this celebrity, and just name dropping things, or just saying the things about the things that you achieved. Instead of doing that, what you should do is try to tell stories that people can relate. Let's say you happen to win a competition. So you're not going to say, I won this competition, I won the first prize, I got this much money and stuff. Instead of that, you should be focusing more on the story. You explain about the struggles you went through, and the interesting or the funny things that happened. And maybe finally you just mention that this is the final result, like what you achieved or what you won, the prize you won. But don't stress over the prize, the final goal of it. That seems like flexing. So rather than that, you focus on the stories, the funny incidents, the interesting, the surprising things that happen. In a way, that's why you need to learn storytelling. So when you do that, people will be more eager to know what happened. So people will listen to you. But if you just go flexing, no one will want to listen to you. Another thing we talked about was arguing or choking with words. It's not that you shouldn't argue, because there are times when we have to prove our point. Like, we have to have friendly arguments, right? Not like heated arguments that can lead to conflicts and, you know, whatever. Sometimes it can lead to very extreme cases, like you have heard of the news where, you know, one girl argued with a man on the train and, you know, a murder happened. But if you're sane, if you're smart, I think you shouldn't go arguing with strangers. If you're saying something, say it politely. Don't just argue, and, you know, it will lead to conflicts. A better word for a good argument would be debate. We know what happens in a debate. We respect the other person. At the same time, we prove our points. We give evidences. In a way, we're arguing, but not in a heated. You're not in an aggressive way. You already know how debates happen, right? If you haven't, just go watch some debates and how it is done. You'll learn things from that. So in real life conversations, you will say like, I see where you're coming from. I respect your opinion, but this is what I feel like, and this is what I suggest. You should use phrases like that instead of just conflicting and you're wrong, I'm right kind of thing. I think you should go learn some phrases that you should use to, acknowledge the other person's opinion, respect their opinion at the same time, express your opinions. Now, what about complaining? Life isn't always clear skies and smooth sailings. There are times when we go through something, some sad, some tragic incidents. It's not that you shouldn't express these to your friends or people you care about, but you have to do it in a way that is controlled. It's not like you should go venting and putting everything onto them. Yes, sometimes we have to, share our feelings, but there's a way to do it and you should figure it out. Yeah, sometimes in extreme points, we may not be able to think rationally. We just become so emotional. Okay, there are some rare exceptions, but if you really invest in your emotional intelligence, you'll be more in control and you'll be able to handle such situations better. When you want to share something bad that happened to you, say it in a way that's normal, but don't like dump all the negativity onto the other person, because emotions, energies are infectious. So whatever you feel will be affected, or transferred to the people who's around you. You don't want to spread negativity, right? So it's always better, if you're going through something, if you can't handle it yourself. It's not that you should always dump it onto someone else, but if you're not able to deal with it, maybe you should approach some friend and see what you can do. And what about monologue? Should you always be talking like you're doing a podcast? No, you shouldn't. If you're sharing something, a long story, maybe you'll take more time, but it doesn't mean that you go on speaking the entire time. It's like you should speak for maybe 5 minutes and then pause and ask the other person something. Let the other person be involved in the conversation. It should be two ways and not one way. It should not be like a podcast. The other person should be able to ask you something, or they should be able to share something that has happened to them, something similar that has happened to them. Keep in mind, you should keep track of time and see if you are taking up long time, then you should pause and give the other person a chance. And about the silent treatment, sometimes yes, we don't want to talk to people, right? You're so overwhelmed. If you're an introvert, we know you have this social battery kind of thing that gets drained at the end of the day, or maybe even earlier. After you're drained, you don't have the energy to talk to people, carry on conversations. So when that's the case, don't just give the silent treatment. Just tell them that you're not in a situation to talk, like you're drained and you don't have the energy and the patience to listen or have a conversation. Just telling a sentence won't hurt, right? Another thing that I explained was dodging and diverting like a pro, right? So some people, you have already met that person, you have that friend, a colleague, or don't know, maybe a relative who always interrupts you and starts talking about something else, a different topic altogether. And how do you feel? You feel so bad, right? You feel like they're not acknowledging what you're saying. You really know how it feels for you. The same happens for other people too. So you should be careful that when you're having conversation with other people, try not to interrupt them and go off at a tangent and take it to other subjects. Let's say you want to take it to another subject, just acknowledge what the other person is saying. For example, let's say, ABC, I understand you, I know what you're going through, but I really don't want to talk about this right now. Is it okay if we talk about XYZ instead? In that way, you're letting the other person know that you're not interested in talking about this, and then you can take to another topic. When you just directly cut them off, it feels so bad. You already have experiences, and that's why you shouldn't do this to other people too. Now let's talk about how to listen to people. As I said, a conversation occurs only if it is a two-way interaction. That is, you speak, then you pause, let the other person speak. When you pause, you have to listen actively and not passively. You already understood what passive listening looks like from the previous video. What is active listening? Active listening means you're actually fully involved in what the other person is saying. You'll nod to what the other person is saying. You'll ask follow-up questions based on what he or she said. And you will mirror the emotions of the person who's talking, right? Mirroring emotions means, let's say the other person is excited about something, then you should also be smiling and listening to that person, showing excitement. And if the other person is talking something serious, is sharing something painful, then you should also make you should make a serious expression, a little concern, instead of just laughing, right? If they're saying something sad, you make a sad expression. If they're saying something exciting, you make an exciting expression. You smile, right? The thing is, when you give 100% attention to what the other person is saying, you'll naturally mirror them, be it their body language, their expressions, emotions. You'll just naturally do it if you are a sane person, if you are a human being, okay? If you're an alien, I don't know. Never listen with a poker face. That doesn't help. And also, I have noticed that most people don't make eye contact when they're listening. That is, okay, the speaker, when they're speaking, they may not always look into your eyes. Like, they may not have eye contact with you. Like, because they are speaking, they will be thinking, they will be constructing things in their head. So they will look away, as I'm doing right now. See, in the video, you can see I'm not always looking into the camera straight like this and talking. If I do so, you'll think I'm weird, I'm scary or something. When I'm thinking, I'm looking away. I'm constructing things and then looking at the camera, right? You as a listener can always maintain eye contact. Doesn't mean you look at them, in a creepy manner. I mean, naturally. You have seen some people, right? People who really care, they will look at the person, study them, like what the expressions are, and they'll be actively listening, trying to read their emotions from their body language. Just listen empathetically, don't judge. Whenever you feel like you don't know what to say to the person, or if what you are going to say is right or wrong, you just have to put yourself in their shoes. Now let's look at how to text on messaging apps. So the first thing that we talked in the previous video was about ghosting. Indians do this. I don't know. I heard somewhere in a podcast that most of the Indians prefer ghosting rather than saying no. And that's funny, but yeah, and that's funny, and that's the reality, because we find it hard to say no, right? We are always taught to please other people, so we are scared of saying no. I believe one thing that we should learn is to say no to things that you're not interested in. Let's say if you're not interested in talking to a person, maybe via text, then you should just tell them instead of just ghosting, right? You just say, I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in talking to you, or maybe I'm not comfortable talking to you. That's why please don't text me, or please don't text me again, and even if you do, I won't reply to your messages. Just a message, and you're clearly letting them know that what's your intention, and that's it. I know it's easier said than done, but that's what you should do, right? So the next problem was leaving on seen. You really know how it feels when other people leave you on seen, right? So do the other person will feel when you do the same, right? So it's understandable. Sometimes you're so busy that you happen to see the message, but something comes up and you have to go, right? And you're not able to reply to the message. So there are 3 things that you can do. Number 1, just send a quick message saying that you're currently busy. Secondly, if you're not in a situation that you can text, just send a voice message, right? And if you can't do both, then just leave it there. But you have to remember that you have not replied, and later when you get time, you should reply to them. And another advanced technique that we discussed in the previous video was dry texting, or minimal effort text. Communication is not just about just saying the words. It's about the facial expression, body language, the tone of how you say it. If I say, good for you, I'm happy for you. Good for you. It makes a difference, right? On text, if I just say, good for you, there's no emoji, just text, good for you. How can I understand whether this person is happy for me, or jealous of me, or sad? So that's why important conversations shouldn't happen on text. Either you should be good enough with emojis that whenever you put in text, you should put in emojis corresponding to the emotion which you're feeling. then at least the other person will get to know what emotion actually you're trying to convey. Another alternative would be send voice messages. In voice messages, at least you'll get to know the tone of what you're trying to say, right? And yet another alternative is to have a direct call or video call, right? In that way, you'll be able to understand each other. I wouldn't ever send voice messages, but once I discovered that voice messages are super easy and super, convenient, I started sending voice messages. It's easier and less time consuming than texting. For texting, like, you have to go find the emoji or the stickers. Time taking, right? Also, when you have to have conversations that are really important, that you're doing a negotiation or something, it's always better to have the conversation on a live call, rather than sending voice messages or texting, because you don't know what the other person is thinking. Like, if it's on a call, we can actually see the changing emotion and stuff, right? There's a lot to it. Like, you can get a lot of things from the live voice, right? So you should decide on which way of communication you should do, depending on the circumstances. Selective responding was a problem in the previous video, but here we'll look at how to deal with it. One thing, when you're replying, you should reply to each message by tagging them. The first message, tag it, reply to it. The second message, tag it, reply to it. Third, tag it, reply to it. Now, if you feel like tagging and replying is a hectic task, then you just send a voice message explaining everything or replying to everything that other person is asking. And yet another problem was turning the read receipt off. That is, in WhatsApp, we turn off the blue ticks. I would recommend that you don't turn it off, because it feels like the other person is talking to a wall, as I explained in the previous video. Even you might have felt that when you're sending messages to your friend or a senior, somebody else. The other person, if there's the blue tick, you get to know that the other person has read it, right? Even after reading it, they haven't said anything. That means you know that you have to take the next step. That is either double text them or call them, right? So it may be something very important, so you know what to do next. But if it is turned off, you don't know if the other person has read it, or is the other person busy, or should I wait for some time for the reply? You don't know what to do, right? So similarly, so that you don't make the other person feel the same way, you should just keep read receipt turned on. You may turn off the online thing, because not everyone needs to know that you're online, right? But I think read recipient is a basic thing that you should turn it on. So as I said, conversation is not about just talking. It's also about reading the other person's body language, expressions. And this thing that is the body language and expression, micro expressions, these are really, really, interesting, because it actually reveals what the other person is thinking. You might have heard of something called mentalism, right? It looks like a magic trick. That is, the mentalist is able to read people's mind. Actually, they're not reading their minds. They're just so skilled that they are able to read the micro expressions on people's face and their body language, the subtleties that normal people don't notice. If you're able to master reading people, that's definitely one of the best skills that you can ever have when you're having conversations. They can make you the best communicator. Even I'm trying to learn these things, micro expressions and stuff. If you really want to know about micro expressions and body language, I'll try making a video on that, and maybe you'll find it somewhere here. I believe my efforts deserve a like and subscribe, so please do like and subscribe. And I'm really, really thankful for your love and support, and see ya!